Hey, 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 beautiful people. Happy March 7th. What day of the week is it? Saturday. March 7th? Maybe not? Maybe Sunday? Oh my God. I have no idea. Full disclosure, and I'll probably tell you this before I go, but as you're hearing this, if you're hearing this when it's released, I am in Miami on a business trip. I'm so freaking excited to be here, there, whatever. It's hard to talk in different tenses. But nonetheless, this was a huge, huge investment in myself and my team. And we're all going to a conference all weekend. I did come down a little early to get the hell out of New York weather. If you're going to go all the way to Florida, you might as well go and extend the trip so that you're in the sunshine a little longer. At least that's how I feel about it. So that's what's going on. But here we go with the readings for March 7th. The moment when you want to quit is the moment when you need to keep pushing. That's what the inspirational calendar says. Oh my goodness. Did physical fitness just jump into your mind like it did for me? That's what I kept thinking was, when you're in the middle of a workout and you want to be done because it hurts or it's sore or you're out of breath, but you know that your body will get the results and those moments that you keep pushing through. I guess that applies in life and fitness and work and relationships and all the things. Our recovery work. I like that one. Okay. Now that we're inspired, let's do our reading. Thomas A. Kempis says, first keep the peace within yourself. Then you can also bring peace to others. Ours is a program of sharing, but we can't share what we don't have. No matter how much we talk about serenity, peace, and love, we can't share those things if we don't really have them ourselves. But how do we find them? Humility is a good place to start. Admitting we don't have all the answers and are still struggling can open the door to being helped by those who are further along in the recovery programs. When we keep an open mind and we are willing to listen and learn from everyone we meet, we soon discover that everyone has something to teach us. Those still trapped by addiction can teach us how to recognize our errors and how to avoid those pitfalls in the future. When we meet people who radiate peace and serenity, we can notice how they live and try to follow their good example. We have lessons to learn from everyone we meet, if only we pay attention. We can look and learn and become more the person we want to be. Then we can bring peace and joy to others too. Today, help me recognize my limitations and help me be humble enough to learn from others. Oh, wow. I can apply this to so many things, from recovery to business and mentors to relationships. And as I say relationships, one of the most profound people that I've learned relationship stuff is Tara, and she's just freaking amazing. And she just makes things so simple. Her and my friend Frank, they just make it simple. And I like that because sometimes I get too in my own way when it comes to this stuff. So what do I mean? One of the examples is when Tara told me, you can't control who you fall in love with. And it's very simple, right? We don't have that power. It's kind of obvious. And it takes away all the judgment and all the things that come along with maybe falling in love with the air quotes wrong person. The simple thing that recently Frank said was, what did he say? The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. How about that? Both of these things, when it's just these couple little sentences, accepting them and understanding them and being okay with those is part of what gives me peace, right? It's just thinking about things that simply. And these are two of my friends that are not in recovery, right? And I can learn things from them. Now, in recovery, there's a whole other gamut of things that I learned from the people, whether it's in the alcohol-free groups or in gambling-free groups or counselors, or like the list goes on and on with all the people who can teach us stuff. And there was recently one of our clients and one of my friends had posted on Facebook. She said, "Is self-care selfish?" And that's what I equate this reading to. I don't think self-care is selfish. I like calling it self-care is self-devotion. Sounds much nicer than selfish, because selfish has so much stigma around what that means. But what I'm hearing in this reading about the peace and the serenity and the calm and all of that is, we can't go out there and set a good example or help people find that stuff if we haven't found it ourselves. Like, this whole show would be a farce if I wasn't positive and didn't believe in the things that I preach to you. I wouldn't even be capable of delivering it, for starters, if I didn't have that serenity and self-awareness to know what I don't know. I tell you guys all the time things I don't know or that I'm not an expert on. This is all just my opinion, right? Or my experience. And hopefully you're getting some value from that you can apply to your life, because I try to pretend like we're in a meeting or whatever. And the beauty of it is that I try to pay attention, and I try to pay attention to if I'm not paying attention. Like this says, we have lessons to learn from everyone we meet if only we pay attention. We can look and learn and become more the person we want to be. Then we can bring peace and joy to others too. And this applies in my online learning and coaching and all the things I've absorbed from that environment, as well as my past experiences. It's so funny how much stuff that when I look backwards, it's like, oh, I can learn from that. I didn't even know I was learning at the time, or maybe I missed the message at the time, but now it makes sense to me now that I don't have such a foggy brain. It's not something that you can probably capture in the moment or be aware of in the moment, or at least for me, sometimes it doesn't always work in the moment, but hindsight is wonderful. And there's lessons behind there. Not that we should be looking backwards, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying, is that we have to be willing to learn. And I notice, so one of the classes that I'm taking that this really just popped in my head for, I was getting coached yesterday, and I wanted to, even though I had done some of the things right that he had said, I kind of wanted to defend myself and be like, hey, I did it right a couple weeks ago. Don't you remember? That wasn't the moral of the story, though. And what good would that have done? What really I needed to do was have my listening ears on, because obviously what was happening wasn't right, and he was trying to coach me. And that's what I pay him for, to coach me. So why wouldn't I listen? Why wouldn't I try to take the lesson? You don't have to pay a coach or anyone to give you those lessons. I mean, I'm an advocate for coaching because it's changed my life, but it's just food for thought that the messages could just be anywhere. I would encourage you, if you're someone who has children, to look for the messaging and the simplicity of the things that they have to say. And if we lived our lives as adults with the innocence and open mind that children have, and how they soak up stuff and being a sponge, I would imagine that our lives would be better. And I keep using simple, but simpler is even better. I've come to really appreciate simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. I don't have to overthink everything anymore. And if it's not over complicated, then things get solved and we can move past them quicker. Or at least that's the way it's working for me. And yes, I agree with the reading. I encourage us to be humble enough to have our listening ears on. And it still goes back to having the self-awareness to notice that we don't have our listening ears on, or that we're being closed-minded because we're stuck and we think it's the way it is. Now, if you're out there and your life is perfect from every aspect, well, first of all, good for you. Second of all, I don't think it's possible. But if that was the case, that would be the only time I would say that we shouldn't be open-minded and self-aware and pay attention to the lessons all around us and all the things that we experience, see, do, and people we come in contact with. That's my lecture for the day. All right, so go out there, guys, with humility and an open mind, and we'll chat again tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.